As another season starts, we find ourselves at nowhere else than the Daytona International Speedway. As every driver walks through and drives through that tunnel into the 2.5-mile confines here just outside of Daytona Beach, you feel that certain feeling. You feel the aura, you feel the history, you feel the vibes, you feel the speed. But before we start the big race in a couple weeks' time, we need to have some preseason fun in its 8th edition. Welcome everybody to PTR TV for today's coverage for the area preseason 8th annual shootout from the Daytona International Speedway, and the winner will be walking away with a nice $100. Gonna be myself, Corey Silva, in the booth and in the truck. We have, at least for the time being, Hunter Sleppy will be with me for the whole show. Brad will be with me, at least for the portion of it, helping here with the calls. So boys, area came back a little bit with the dirt show a few months ago, but we're ready for game time. We're ready for the season, and we're getting ready tonight.
Hunter, you go first.
Oh, well, thank you, Brad. It's a pleasure to be back here on PTR TV for the entirety of Season 8. I'll help out whenever I can, but as far as area is concerned, you can find all the Cup, Truck, and Pro Series broadcasts on the PTR TV YouTube channel and on area iRacing's Twitch. But it's great to be back here at Daytona, especially after I was actually live in person for this event back in August of 2025. I was actually at this track. It's enormous. You can't imagine anything else other than this track. It doesn't get any better than it, and we're due for a good show tonight. And there's Casey Lakatos, who won back in Season 5 and is the only guy to win from Fuel at Daytona, I think, ever in history, on the sim and in real life.
This is going to be a good one here. I'm excited to see area back whenever we were getting ready for the season. And we left last year on a big cliffhanger of who knows when they're coming back, who knows what's going on. And then, well, here we are. This was one of those that whenever I got a message that said, hey, here's a secret project, and got some behind the scenes from one Mr. Jacob Bell himself, I was so excited to see it. Very, very happy to be back here. Of course, Daytona, as you said, Hunter, this is a track that if you go to in person, it's pretty much all you can see. Walking around the infield is just wild. Seeing the track itself and the cars fly around. Of course, I go for the Rolex. I haven't been to the Daytona 500, but the virtual one is just absolutely amazing. I can't wait to see how this race goes tonight.
Yeah, I've been lucky enough to be here, not for the 500, but for the Coke Zero 400 in August. And if you've never been here, as we're kind of alluding to, it is the Mercedes-Benz Field. It is the Gillette Stadium. It is a first-tier football stadium, but for motorsport. Definitely something that all fans need to do in their lifetime here. But we are finishing up qualifying. These guys have single-car lap times, and looks like we have about 23 cars. And the way that this race is going to be ran is as follows, guys. We have two 10-lap heats, and then that'll set us up for the 55-lap main feature. And again, this is the first shootout run in this Gen 7 next-gen car. Hunter, I know you are the statistician of the series. I mean, anything is a first. We can't go back in the data sheets and find out how this is going to play out exactly.
No, because there's been different cars in different formats with the shootouts that have been used, but I've been able to compile a list of some stats for you. So the average starting position from the winner has been from the 12th position. 6 laps led is about the average for the race winner, and except Casey Lakatos and his fuel mileage win from Season 5, every other race has had a last lap pass, and that was, ironically, that was also the only race where we didn't have a caution for the preseason shootout, and every other race had an overtime finish.
So we'll see how that does play out. Can Casey Lakatos pull off the upset win? Or I guess not even an upset, because he's used to winning here. But either way, let's head down trackside. We have 12 cars for this heat session. Justin Bolton is going to fire off this heat from the front row. Michael Curhan in second. We have John Hall in third. David Weishart going to roll off in the fourth spot. Fifth will be Sebastian Marin, who I believe is now in the Coke Series, if I'm not mistaken now. James Scioli in sixth. Bryce Senesac in seventh. Justin Anasogak, the Alaskan Assassin, in eighth. Then our Seth Noel, Casey Lakatos, Danny Ware, and Jake Matheson rounding out our starting lineup.
Yeah, Danny Ware in the 11th spot was actually the fan vote winner, so fans got to go and put their list of drivers who they think should make it. Danny Ware was ultimately the one that had the most votes going into today, so it was announced that he was the winner of the fan vote, and he is partaking in this event.
Always cool to have a fan vote in here. Again, area, one of the most, if not the most prestigious series here on iRacing. Of course, the Coca-Cola series is the most prestigious, the most important, the most lucrative here on the series, but we have so many affiliations, some drivers actually coming in here, and this is certainly going to be one of the most competitive series, so these drivers will be fighting for these starting spots, and even a exhibition race certainly going to have the utmost level of importance. But 12 drivers here, heat number 1, 10 laps. I mean, what can we expect to see? Is this going to be kind of 2x2, or is this going to be a little slice and dice and trying to set yourself up for the moves that'll work in the future?
I'd like to say that we get a little bit of both. It'll be tame for the first part, but I think towards the end of the heats, we'll start to see some guys try to test out some moves, whether it's a 3-wide pass, a 3-car tango, 2-car pass, whatever it may be. They'll try and determine to see if that's good enough for the main event and if that will work in their favor.
This is going to be a fun one. I think this is going to be a lot of running through. I have a problem with the number 29 car, guys. This has got a Louisville Cardinal paint scheme. How can you be a Louisville fan?
Brad is a Kentucky native, for those
are fine words there, Brad.
Do I do it? Do I do it to him?
I mean, I know as much about college sports as a vegan knows about going to Five Guys, so I'm not the one to add any references there, but I have been corrected. Sebastian, not in Coke yet, although leading Road to Pro and has his I rating in the 10,000 club, which not many drivers can say that. That is the asterisk provided by the one, the man, the myth, the legend, Jacob Bell himself.
Yeah, David, a big fan of the Louisville Cardinals, and if you mispronounce it wrong, he will give you a stern talking to about that, but he is a previous champion. I believe he was the Season 1 Cup champ, so that is why he's locked into the field. The same with Michael Curran. That's Season 5 champion from the Area Cup side of things. And the pole sitter, Justin Bolton, actually a pole sitter from Season 7. That's why he's locked into the field. And he's been very consistent with his finishes last year. See if he can try and kick off Season 8 on the right foot.
We're coming off turn 4 here at the Daytona International Speedway, where we get ready for the 8th annual preseason shootout. Pace car is pulled in. Let's go into the restart zone. Let's get fired off. 2026 is live, and we're racing at Daytona. Getting up to speed here, exiting the tri-oval, still side by side. Weishart giving the push to the 24, who has the slight edge on the top of the racetrack. But down on the bottom of the track, you have Bolton with the push from the 03 of Hall. Pace lap formation still in existence here down the back straightaway, boys.
No surprise to see the 2x2 hold on here as they go. One car ducking its way out there. That's the 52 who is just kind of peeking his head around there. Jake Matheson seems like he wants to start a line, and well, let's go ahead. Let's start a third line if we can. That's Jake Matheson sticking there on the high line in the back end. Never mind, that lasted for about half a turn, and they go back down 2x2, keeping it together up in the front. Justin Bolton trying to bolt his way forward. He's holding on there. John Hall and Sebastian Marin. Again, this is only a short heat here, Hunter, so I think these guys are going to just chill out for now.
Yeah, for the most part, and we've only got about a one-lane racetrack. Most guys have already ducked down to the bottom. Weishart to the back with Michael Curran as well. And we got some shuffling and even some three-wide action for a brief moment as they're almost close to wrecking, but it's so far Justin Bolton, John Hall, and Bryce Senesac leading the way on the bottom.
That purple car in the middle of the racetrack now to the back of the pack. That is the prior mentioned Sebastian Marin but this may be a little bit of strategy too. As I said earlier, this does kind of dictate your starting spot, but it also lets you know what might work, what might not. If you're not used to racing with certain people, how do they draft? Who can you trust? This could be a really big learning curve and set some expectations for the final 55 lapper.
That 55 lapper, I think, is really going to be the big challenge of the night. The big thing here at this point is you don't want to have a bad time here in the heats. You really just need to hold on to it, keep it going, try to capitalize and find time as you can, find positions where you can, because you don't want to do anything crazy now that's going to compromise you 55 laps. But then again, let's be honest, it's Daytona, so Hunter, I think we all know how Daytona can end.
It can end in the shower of sparks, or it can end just like we're running right now. But I don't think it'll do that. As we're coming up on 7 laps to go, just cross the stripe. It's still the first 3 cars leading the bottom lane with Bolton, Hall, and Senizak. But that outside lane starting to get some momentum with just Xander Sogak in the 69, the 52, Jake Matheson. And there's another car that was outside. I believe that's Casey Lucas in the 50.
Outside lane struggling. That's what happens here, boys, in these races. Actually, Anna Sogak pulling to the back now. Maybe the 52 of Matheson needed some fresh air on the nose of that car. Overheating certainly is a thing, but the 52 having a little bit of tandem with the push from the 50. You can see we're not a Taylor Swift album, but the sparks are flying here. These cars very low to the ground, and I think we're just doing a little bit of learning going on, just splitting the gap, going 3 wide, keeping the air on the nose, but not enough energy, not enough cars to allow that upper lane to come into play.
Not at all. Only 2 cars in the upper lane isn't enough really to get a run going, but you can see everyone's starting to look through. John Hall there kind of sticking the nose out, splitting a run through with Bryce Senizak there in 3rd, holding along. These guys are going through. We got 4 cars to the high line now. That might give a little bit of something here. So we get a whiplash on board to give you an idea of pace, of speed, of run as we go down into 3. And again, they look like they're getting a run. Seth Noel there on that high line. We finally split the pack about 50-50, except for the top 3.
Yeah, top 3 are staying tucked together, but I don't think that'll last when we come up on 2 to go, or even on the white flag lap. But for now, we're on 5 to go. In car with Sebastian Marin in the 66, rolling on that outside lane with Seth Knoll. Got a good run going into turn 1, but it seems like it stalls out, and that the inside lane is the lane you want to be in for the turns.
We're just giving a little bit of a push to the pack, and these drivers know all of the tendencies. They know what they can and cannot get away with. I see a little bit of damage to the front of Seth Noel's automobile. Well, that'll be masked now because John Hall is going to go to the top of the track, take the push from him, so any damage to the front doesn't matter now because it's not in the air. But this may be the first lead change under green flag conditions of the day. It is John Hall with the Herculean push from Noel gets the race lead.
Here's going to be the problem for Noel. If he's carrying that front nose damage, if he tries to pull out a line now and get a run and try to lead a line, that can be a parachute there, and it disrupts that airflow, can prove a problem. You see, as soon as the 3 of John Hall dips down, Seth Noel not able to really get a run. He's trying to pull the side draft. 3 goes back up with the high line. It seems like a great push coming from Noel, but I just don't know if it's going to be enough from Seth Noel to move forward here.
Now, but we got a great side-by-side battle now as the 03 of John Hall makes his way on the outside, but that inside, Marin got such a big shove, had to get out of the line. Here comes Anna Sogak in the 69, door-to-door at the line with 3 to go.
Here we go. I thought we were going to go 3 wide, but now the lanes are changing. We're starting to see the traffic cop going on top to bottom here as they change which lane they need to block to maintain that momentum. And when you block one lane, usually it gives the other lane that much more momentum. But Matheson there in that car, I don't know if it's actually his car with the iRacing logo, but either way, we'll get that sorted out one place or another. Thought he was going to go 3 wide. No, he's going to give a shot to Noel. And Noel is going to stunt that run, absorb it, but not take it anywhere.
I think that is his car with the iRacing logo, because that's what it has on my side as well. Sometimes you just got to rep rep the service every once in a while. I mean, there's an iRacing MX-5. There might as well be an iRacing Cup car here in area. Look at the jump there. Marin dropping back to the low line as we go here. The 3 and the 69. Anna Sogak and Hall go through. We're 2 laps to go this time by. Into 1 and 2 we go. And that number 66 is Sebastian Marin trying to keep the run there on the inside.
No, and he's going to go to the top. Maybe. I think that was a push that, if anything, got Sebastian loose and up the track at Daytona Speedway. Bump and run, mind you. But we stay green. We stay good. Fully under the green flag conditions. Of course, if we make it to the white, there'll be no interruptions. But looks like we're going to get there and have ourselves a nice smooth 10 laps. Hopefully I don't eat those words.
Well, you might be able to eat them, because I think we're going to get a little more chaotic on this last lap. Marin coming through to take the white flag. Actually, here comes John Hall with a nice run on the outside. Door to door. Hall leads at the line. Will he lead it at the next lap?
Going to be a big ask here from Hall. Seth Noel goes with him, though. They both drop to the low line, cover off Sebastian Marin here through 1. Coming out of 2, Anna Sogak has a run as well. Let's see, top 4 trying to break away from the rest of the pack. I don't think they're going to be able to, though, down the backstretch here. Corey, it's half a lap to decide it.
Single file for the first 5 cars. Who's going to make the move, or are we just going to remain complacent? The push from Noel to the 03 got him a little loose. Here comes Marin looking with a push from Anna Sogak to the top. He has it. No, Noel goes to the top. The damaged car, no, we're going to get loose. We're going to get turned. We're going to stay straight down on the bottom. 3 wide at the line. Who got it? I have no idea.
Gosh, I think it looked like the 1 got it at the line, and the 3 wide banging
Seth
photo
Noel
finish.
by 1/100th, and unfortunately, because of how quick heat sessions go, we can't get a replay, but let's go ahead and start heat number 2.
Wow. Well, I don't know how we topped that off, but absolutely phenomenal finish. It did get a little chaotic at the end. Garrett Conrath is going to be starting first in this one, next to Travis Speckner in the first row. Second row, we got Jake Nichols and Dylan Alt, the class of the field for the Cup Series. Then Brad Slaughter, previous area champion, with Josh Cottle over in the third row. The fourth row, we'll have Jonathan Evans and Brian Mercurio. Fifth row for this one will be Eric Wineland and Bailey Turner, last season's Area 500 champ, and a row all to himself, Timmy Pacioli in the 86 car.
That'll do it. What a crazy finish there. I'm sure there is some, I mean, I could put us to a little bit of delay and kind of sift through, but I really don't want to do that here for a heat. But you can go back and rewind that crazy finish. They were 3 wide. What a save. Again, we saw the bump drafting, and that's where the tests come in, guys. We saw the bump drafting. We saw how out of control these next-gen cars are. And if we're willing to do that in the heat, what are we going to do when there's a Benjamin on the line?
I can give you an answer, because while we've been doing this, I've been while we've been running through the grid, I've been dialing in back in that replay, and I'll tell you, it all came unglued coming out of turn 4. That is really where it set through. So second heat, if you took notes, well, I don't know if I'd do that coming through, but they're going to certainly give it the old college try, for lack of better phrase, honestly.
We are all gridded up here, all 11 cars, so we're just awaiting the pace car to up and take us here, but I don't know why we're delayed. There's nobody who's not joined in, to my knowledge, but either way, we didn't go over the weather, as again, we saw this earlier, we pointed this out. Daytona actually has a beach. The iRacing added the ocean here, and there's a plane. Brad, is that plane landing with proper trajectories and speed?
That plane is landing very properly, and with the time of day we're on, that's actually probably the plane I flew into Daytona on back in January. So that's about perfect timing as the grid gets rolling here.
Funnily enough, in little random iRacing facts, there was a person who perhaps had a little bit too much free time on their hands, who actually did all of the measurements frame by frame, calculated the angle of attack, the vertical descent rate, and all that stuff, and actually emailed iRacing to tell them that plane would absolutely not make the runway. So they actually did go in and model the landing to be at a more realistic attack rate. So that is the detail we have here on the iRacing service. The detail also gives us the weather, which at Daytona doesn't mean too much, but what it means is we will be under the lights here. No track moisture because we don't have a rain tire yet. and I don't think we'd ever see it here at the World Center of Racing.
I'm going to give a fun fact here really quick while I'm looking here, Hunter. Sebastian Marin put in the iRacing chat at all the drivers and said that better not happen in the actual race. Hunter, I'm going to let you break his heart really quick.
Well, I don't know why I have to be the heartbreaker, but depending on who's in that situation, it might happen. I mean, it might happen. There's a possibility that it won't happen, but there's always that possibility where it could go even more haywire than that.
Well, as I'm sure, I haven't read the terms and conditions of area entry, but I'm sure that if something egregious happens, that admin does have the discretion to withhold fundage payments if the move was that egregious. So hopefully that these guys don't let money get to their heads, but you know, we all do. Inflation's crazy and we all want the Benjamins, but what we have to do now is settle another 10 lapper. We went 10 laps clean and green to start our night off. Will we go back to back in that endeavor? Well, Garrett Conrath and Travis Beckner will get us going into that restart zone, unbranded here at Daytona. Green flag in the air. Actually, correct me if I'm wrong, it's actually the United Rentals restart zone there, so I do have to get their branding out. But there's our Hendry County car, again, one of our big area partners here, Travis Beckner to the outside.
Good up to speed for everyone through 1 and 2 here as they go, trying to keep an eye on what sort of crazy things can come along down the backstretch. Beckner, Conrath up in the front here. Everybody, I think, taking notes from that first run here. Never mind the high line's getting a run. They're trying to drop through, and Beckner's going to drop down. That high line, though, should get a run, and I think they're going to leave him out to dry.
Yeah, Dylan Alt will be the one leaving him out to dry. Him and Josh Cottle going to be taking over the first 2 spots here as they're coming across the stripe. 10-9 to go. Alt will lead the first, slap that third car behind, Brian Mercurio. And fourth in line, Bailey Turner, who won the Area 500 by the closest margin in Area 500 history. I think it was 1/1000th of a second. He is a previous winner, so he is in this field. And outside of him, Jonathan Evans in the 26th, but behind him, it's 86 Apache.
Macchioli, someone who I believe he got himself a win in the Truck Series last season, but always a driver who bad luck was always up his alley, unfortunately, hoping for a better 2026 there. But outside lane seeming to be the default lane of choice. As soon as I say that, Brian Mercurio says, nope, we're going to go to the inside lane there in that gray car. Not sure if that's kind of the test scheme or not, but a nice gray matte car by him. A lot of good schemes here, but going to the top of the racetrack, Dylan Alt, again, taking the run from the top, and to take the run from the top, you give the run to the bottom, and that's Mercurio.
Great run here, up top, middle, side as they go along, trying to just keep things through. The big thing is once that top line kind of hits that proverbial, again, the wall right at the nose of the cars, it really just sets in for nobody able to take advantage and get by here. They continue along and through, and well, let's take it 3 wide, why don't we? That's a decision.
Yeah, we don't really see too much 3 wide in the real world, let alone the sim, and they tried it last heat and it didn't work out, but seems like that third lane's sticking good so far, and it seems like it's actually going to just turn into the middle lane if I have a feeling. But Travis Beckner's in the middle, him and Garrett Conrath, they make their way to the bottom, and just like that, we're down to almost entirely single-car racing. Well, say that, and here comes Beckner with a run on the outside off, too.
And who does he have a push from? That's the 9 of Garrett Conrath, who the spec map on that car, very shiny. Definitely could spot that car out. And there goes Mercurio back up to the top of the track. No help, though. Can only side draft your way so far without some help from the back. Now, Pacioli, he's going to get right to that rear bumper, try to get that outside lane going 4 cars strong, make it 5, because Beckner looking to the top of the racetrack with a head of steam and some bumping, some swerving around. All really doing a big job controlling the field here.
These guys are racing pretty hard here already again as we go, and we still have to get to lap 10. Keep that in mind. We're not even half race distance yet. Now the swap there from Beckner down to the inside to get up into the lead, but then he loses it with the run there to Dylan Alt going through with Mercurio giving the good bump. Look at the bumps coming through as everyone goes down, and now who is that pulling to the high line? That is the number 9 of Garrett Conrath, the single fiddle up top.
Look at Mercurio just slicing and dicing to the bottom. This is one less car, but 3 times the passing here. These drivers, there is no companionship, no teammate. This is absolutely solo driving at its finest. If I get a move, I'm taking it, and I'm taking it now, Hunter.
Yeah, just like Pacioli, he's taking it to the bottom. He's going to take the lead away from Dylan Alt. He'll try the side jab, but here comes Brian Mercurio behind with a big bump from him and Travis Beckner, holding it steady on the bottom. Meanwhile, on the outside out of 2, that is Jake Nichols. I don't think we mentioned his name tonight, but he's that bright green 73, trying to give the 42 a shove into 3.
Oh no! Slaughter! Did he save that car? Is that an early Ricky Rudd save of the race nominee right there? Number 8 here on our replay, not yet sponsored by Hendry County, but let's look at the push here from Caudell.
That's a save if I've ever seen it.
Yeah, and it was not done yet. We'll go back to live footage, but yeah, Slaughter doing a great job there and remained in the pack here. 4 laps to go. Beckner to the outside. Pacioli down to the inside. Alt finally lost command of the show, but that doesn't mean he's out and done. Has Nichols behind him.
Beckner scaring the daylights out of me, chopping low. All right, so Heat 2 is very, very much feeling good today, and Pacioli trying to hold on to it. He's wiggling here.
What's on tap? I think an 11-car wreck.
Feels close, man. Feels close.
That'd be less than ideal if the entire field wrecked, but I think we're on tap for a pretty good finish as Alt will go down to the bottom. Now Jake Nichols will be the one leading that outside charge with Brad Slaughter behind. And scratch that, Alt's going to go back to the outside. Beckner is still controlling the bottom. And now I'm looking at Conrath back there. I think he's just trying to feel the waters out. He just keeps jumping up and jumping down now. The 8 of Slaughter to the inside of Nichols.
Now, I'm very curious, boys. We're about 8 laps into this race, and we've only had 2 lead changes. Wow, it felt like way more than that with all the slicing and dicing. Of course, it only counts at the line, but Slaughter has the run to the outside. Alt back to the lead, I believe. He's been up front for the majority of this race and has been in aggressive command of it with his lane changes, but the outside's going to need a little bit of help. Nichols doesn't have the run. Maybe it'll come from the push from Caudell and to the back of Slaughter, but 2, maybe 1.5 laps left in this heat.
Lap and a half left here, and it's anyone's guess who gets the win. Welcome to the fun of Daytona. Everyone jostling for position up front. The 42 goes up to block the 28 of Beckner. Beckner gives a bump. Beckner's now all alone on that high line as everyone was jostling for position. He's going to fall well back here. Get the bump. He'll start to come back forward there. Slaughter is going to try to help him come forward. Barney comes through. White flag. 1 lap to go here.
Final time from Daytona for heat number 2. It's all Dylan Alt up front. Beckner with some help from Slaughter staying in the running for now. Gonna have to pick up some ground though on this last lap as the first 3 cars are single file through 1 and 2, and Alt for the moment leads it down the back.
That outside lane by Beckner. Beckner trying to go to the top 3 wide. 26 wanted the help from Beckner. Beckner says no. Beckner goes high. Beckner goes low. That's the big junk. About 4, 5, 6 cars involved. Whoops-a-daisy there, but Travis Beckner is up front. We're nearly 4 wide here. We're 3 wide. Beckner with no speed up to the 42. That's going to be Jake Nichols, the quiet son in this race. Comes out, tries to shine at the end. Below the line is Conrath. They're going to turn. Nichols got it. Conrath, not sure if that's going to count because he was below the line. But yeah, that was a lap. So exciting. I turned the UI on by accident. But that was Nichols. He's going to have to pull the backup out.
Oh, keep his starting position, too. I think he'll be on the outside of the second will be the second position on the outside of the first row, but pretty great finish. I was looking at Conrath. I'm just thinking, what's he doing back there? He just keeps going up and down from the inside outside, but he was able to get himself from 11th to 2nd for the moment. See if that second position counts from the heat.
All right, well, now we have ourselves a 3-minute warm-up, so we'll have enough time here that I can actually kind of go back in time here as we just enjoy the glorious pictures of the Daytona International Speedway. We can kind of get a little bit of replay of that run to the checkers, boys. So we'll check that out here.
That was a wild finish, let me tell you. It was a very, very wild finish. And let's check it out here as it goes. Watch that high line. It swerved through one way. It served the other. Go through the 73, the 9, the bump, the sideways. And he was sideways when he came across the line.
Well, you know what we can do now, boys?
Very impressive.
I believe we could actually go back to, But now, I don't know if this was why. This was not why Jacob put in a warm-up session, but I'm going to take full advantage of it. This is the end of heat number 1, which ended in that crazy photo finish. So there's who is up front right now. And I don't have, this is a little bit harder to do here in retrospect, but that's Bryce Sennesack up front. Oh, nah. We tried, boys. Short. We tried. I thought I had 2 minutes. I don't have 2 minutes. Infer your own jokes on that. But let's head down and give you the final rundown for our 55-lap shootout here from the Great Americans. That's not the... I'm just lost. Brad, take over the grid.
The Great American Ballpark, I think, is what you might have been trying to say, which is not where we're at. We're at the World Center of Racing here, and Seth Noel in the number 1. Of course he's going to start 1, because why wouldn't he? Jake Nichols in the 73 is going to be starting to his outside here. Sebastian Marin, Mr. 10K there, is going to be starting P3 with LVV Racing, and Garrett Conrath, Flow Money Racing in 4th. John M. Hall there in the Mustang will start 5th, and Dylan Alt will start P6. There will go P7. Justin Bolton trying to bolt his way forward. Beckner, the Hendrick County car, the number 28 in P8. P9 here on the night. Well, where's Danny Ware? He's in P9. And Eric Wineland will start it out in 10th place. That's a name I recognize.
Bryce Sennesack going to be in 11th, with Bailey Turner going to roll off in the 12th spot. James Scioli in 13th. Brian Mercurio in the 14th spot, with Jake Matheson in 15th. Josh Caudell in 16th. He was doing some good pushing in that heat. David Weishart in 17th. Jonathan Evans in 18th. And Justin Anasogak and Brad Slaughter. And we'll just leave you a couple little remnants here, Mr. Hunter.
Yeah, Michael Curhan and Timmy Pacioli there in a row together, and then in a row all to himself, Casey Lacanis in the 50. That's the 23-car field for tonight's $100 to win main event.
And the starting of the Area 2026 season should be running till, I believe, August, if I'm not mistaken. And Jacob does apologize to us and the fans. He did not realize we were going to use the warm-up session for that purpose, so he apologizes for not letting us get that replay. So we forgive you, Jacob. But as Hunter alluded to, we will here on PTR TV be covering the entirety of the season. The Cup Series was on a different channel last season, and we covered the Trucks and Florida Estate Builders Pro Series, but this will be your exclusive home. So make sure you don't miss a race, and like, share, comment, subscribe, all that fun stuff here. We're looking for 2,000 subscribers, and with your help, we can hit that goal. But guys, 55 laps. Hunter, you are the statistician. I believe we are going to have a pit stop at some point in this race.
Yeah, so it was about 35 to 40 laps on the tank of fuel. Now, that can vary if you're leading the entirety of it, or if you're in the back and just riding things out and just trying to maintain a positive attitude throughout the evening. But we will have to make at least one pit stop during this race, whether that be under green or under yellow. Not quite sure, but again, like I've said in the past, from this event, besides Season 5 with Casey Lacaze and his magnificent fuel mileage victory, every other race has been decided with the last lap pass in overtime. So just keep that in mind. Things might get a little chaotic. We have more cars, and we're going to have them all bunched up in the one field instead of in the two separate heats.
Yeah, we will. With that'll help the runs because there will be more energy in each lane available, but it also means there'll be more congestion, as you said, which means some of those slicing and dicing moves may not be applicable. Just to bring up the weather, just to say that we did, I don't even remember what it was before, but it's just basically about the same, but we are under the lights, which just makes everything faster, just makes everything cooler, and makes those schemes like Garrett Conrath just glow, shine, and sparkle under this Musco lighting installed in 1998. But Seth Noel, no damage. That car is repaired, so he is at full bore, and he's ready to take charge here at Daytona. Season 8 preseason shootout, 100 to win. Who's going to get it? We'll find out in 55 laps. Green, green, green. We are up to speed here with the push on the outside. Conrath and Nichols go right to the bottom in direct tandem here, but that'll leave Dylan Alt and Hunter. We saw how aggressive Alt was. He put him in command. This will be a very hard lead to take away. He's trying to get that outside rolling with Beckner.
Doing a good job of it thus far. He's got a bit of an edge going into turn 3. At the rear, you see from the 73 of Jake Nichols, with Conrath pushing behind. The front two to start the race are now the first two on the bottom, and on the outside, Dylan Alt still getting a bit of a shove from Travis Beckner. At the line, it's going to be really close, and I think Nichols led by half a car to start this event.
Nichols led by about half a car. I like to get that pace lap formation. Only saw one wreck in the 2 heat races we saw. Well, they were on the last lap, so these races have been clean and green. We'll see when the pit stops come in. That probably won't be till at least lap 20 till you get in that window. But we're 2x2, and this is kind of what the next gen is known for, with the 2x2 racing, third lane, very hard to get rolling, but somebody back there in the pack is trying to break that trend, and that's the assassin. That is Justin Sogak with a little bit of a look from Scioli. Remember, he had some good races last year in the Florida State Builders Pro Series.
Indeed he did, and looking to get some more momentum going in the right direction for Season 8. Try to kick things off the right way with a solid showing in tonight's preseason shootout, but got to go through a long way up the field. Dylan Alt leading, and then on the outside, Eric Wineland. Don't think we mentioned about him too much tonight. He was a Season 3 shootout winner. That's why he's in this field, and he's got a pretty good-looking paint scheme. Sitting in the second spot right now, Brian Mercurio giving him a nice shove going into 3.
Oh, my goodness. He had nowhere to go with it, so he's like, all right, I'm in the sandwich. I'll just take myself out of it, go to the bottom of the track, but not enough of a push from Bailey Turner in the 25. That'll give the outside some momentum, and speaking of momentum to the outside, Jake Matheson got the third lane rolling, and I said the third lane don't work, Hunter, but hold my beverage of choice. We're 3x3 at Daytona. 4 cars making that lane work so far.
Yeah, we got enough cars to where we can do this.
Oh, no!
Oh, no! Well, they got away with it for a little bit, but we're going to have some cars spinning out, coming out of 2. James Scioli being one of them. The caution is out. We did have enough cars to where we can do 3 lanes, but I think that's maybe a reason why we don't really do 3 lanes.
Yeah, going Daytona International, only having that 35 feet of real estate, similar distance to that there of Atlanta Motor Speedway, so that's why it is tricky. Dega gives you that extra little bit of space. Let's see, I think it was the push from Anna Sogak. We saw push has gone bad. That's basically what that was. I want to get one more look at why Scioli spun out, because it seems separate from the rest of the incident. Just roll back a little bit here. Look at that blue car right of your screen, top of the racetrack. Yeah, he kind of got sandwiched with the 24 as well. That was Michael Perhan. Now, no fast repairs or anything of the sort, so you will have to get fixed the old-fashioned way. Luckily, these next gens at the plate tracks takes a little bit of damage to knock you out of the race. The draft is the biggest Band-Aid you could ask for.
Yeah, it's a little bit more realistic now, especially with this past Daytona 500 in real life, where cars with damage can still run up front with ease. For the time being, though, Dylan Alt will lead under caution. Travis Beckner is also another car involved in the incident. I think he just spun out, no one hit him. He'll get away A-OK. Same with the 7 Skyly, besides some minor scrapes from the wall. Overall, pretty fun first 4-lap stint of the evening.
And I guess we'll see where these drivers will stand and how seriously they're going to take strategy calls. Will we see any top-offs? I'm not sure, Hunter, if you had said what the fuel estimate would be. I want to say it's usually around 38 to 40 laps. So even a top-off here would not get you to the end, but you never quite know. There could be a caution that comes out where in 5 laps, and maybe that extra little bit of fuel will get you to the end, but thus far, everyone remaining on the racetrack, or are they? They're straddling. We might have ourselves some shenanigans going on.
Good bit of takers down pit road. I mean, not really going to be enough to make it the distance, but we'll see if we get some splash and go, or if we see some people actually change tires after a few laps.
Did actually see a little bit of not damage per se, but there was a couple paint scuffs on the front of that number 42, no surprise. There's the 9 missing his pit stall. But everybody will exit the pits here. Mercurio getting out first, about 5 seconds for most drivers. Couple drivers choosing to take full tires. That's Conrath. I don't know if there's any damage to that car. It must be, because he's still remaining in the pits. Or maybe he got penalized, but yeah, I don't see any. I guess the splitter might have a little bit of damage, but we'll see what happens to him here as we go back to live footage, and Mercurio, the leader of this race.
Yeah, Mercurio with a great pit stop to get him in the proper position to take over as the leader. 4.999 seconds. Everybody else was 5 and above. And yeah, it looks like Eric Conrath, either he might have sped on pit road, or he's just taking all the optional repairs necessary to make sure his car is still in the running.
Absolutely. And of course, if you're liking what you're seeing here, again, this is the preseason shootout, but in short course, we have the 8th annual Area 500. That'll be on March 23rd. That'll be the official start of the Area Cup Series, and that'll be live here on PTR TV and, of course, on the Area iRacing Twitch. Of course, if you're over there, I think the same deal applies with the membership program. Gets you discounts on merch and emojis and all that fun stuff. But if you like what you see, we look forward to seeing you on the 23rd, and Hunter, potentially next week with the duels. Didn't we get some loose confirmation on that?
Yeah, so next week will be Area 500 qualifying, and then the dual races for that event as well. Going to be another fun season to kick things off with Daytona racing, and so far we've got enough drivers to where there will be some drivers who will go home and have to watch from either in the grandstands or in their virtual haulers or pit boxes of a friend or whoever it may be, wherever it may be. Some of the drivers that are not currently locked in, like an open car. We got Kwame Scott signed up today. We got Jake Fisher, a rookie. Nico Servideo, a rookie. Christian DeBoer, name familiar to those from the first footsteps of Area iRacing. And then Hayden Swank, also an open car. Got a lot of new names and faces in different places, not only just on the Cup side of things, but on the trucks and the Pro Series. Me, myself, actually, I have a truck team now, so that's how you know things have changed over this off-season in Area. So it's going to be fun to kick things off with Daytona in a couple weeks' time. But next Monday night, it will be just Cup qualifying and the dual racing for them. None of the other activities will be until 2 weeks' time.
You got a truck team. So it's going to be Brad covering me with Mondays in the Area Cup Series. I know our pal Andre will be on Tuesdays, which is the truck series. You'll be with me Thursdays, so we won't have a conflict of interest there, Hunter.
In the rare case we do, I will try to be as unbiased as possible.
Well, that's
what he says.
I mean, Jeff Gordon covered Hendrick for about 6 years in the Fox booth, so we trust he'll do a good job, all jokes aside. But let's get ready for our first official restart of the evening. Again, the heats went clean and green until the final lap, so we haven't actually had a restart into, I apologize, United Rentals. It is the United Rentals restart zone here at Daytona. Hopefully I don't get a violation in the mail, but let's go into that said restart zone. Mercurio and Alt, flash bulbs in the stands, and we're back to racing. Some massive separation there as everybody gets themselves back up to speed. Now Evans to the back bumper of the 82. That's going to give that inside lane a good push. And you can see the back of the pack. I'm not sure if those were guys topping off because there's a lot of single file there back of the pack that has separated them out. But just because they're separated now, don't expect it to stay that way. 69 of Anna Sogak, who was involved in that incident. He's getting ahead of steam. Will he take it 3 wide, Hunter?
I would hope not. We won't have much help behind. We'll just have Jake Matheson, but we will see. Just poke his nose out to get a little bit of clean air on that 69 car at the line. Mercurio's going to leave that lap. We're crossing into lap 9, and it's still a good 2x2 racing situation for about the first 6 or 7 rows on the racetrack, as the 25 of Bailey Turner is going to push the 42 of Dylan Alt. Meanwhile, on the bottom, Brian Mercurio being pushed by Jonathan Evans in the 26.
Yeah, Mercurio and Jonathan Evans, solid push into the inside. Makes you wonder how much air, or when are they going to need to switch? Because look at Mercurio. He is just getting that solid connection. Now a little bit of space to be had. 42 of Alt. He is getting the sent back to the caboose card sent to him here all the way to 14th and counting there. There's Sebastian Marin, who is just kind of methodically cruising back there, which that was anything but what he was doing in the heat race, leading a charge of about 10 cars behind. Is there some magical fuel save strategy that'll take them about 50 laps? I don't think so, or maybe they're just trying to evade the wreck, in the style that Terry Labonte and Bobby Labonte did at the 90s plate racing. Wait for them to wreck, take advantage of it later.
Yeah, I would say it's that part, because they were 3 wide up front, almost at the big one, and kind of shook a little bit of the drivers, and I don't blame them. I don't want to wreck 4 laps into a 55-lap race. So most of the guys are to the back, and now they're on the bottom. Only a few guys on the outside lane. We're on board with one of them. That being Seth Nolan, the number 1, still pushing the 25 of Bailey Turner, albeit they're not really going for it. They're kind of dropping backwards, but still keeping a good charge on that outside lane and trying to stay in tuck with everybody else on the bottom lane.
And if you don't know what AmericanFishes.com, ask Seth Noel. He's probably going to have that plastered in his brain, and he will search out that sponsor post-race. You always hear about that at these plate races. You learn the sponsor of the car in front of you ever so intimately. But we are probably the most tame we've seen over the course of these 2 heat races, plus what we've seen thus far. This is, as we like to say, kind of killing laps, because, again, we have a pit stop to be had. We don't have a backup car, so you do have to mind your P's and Q's. You learned who you want to race with. You learned who does what, how they do it. So now you can just kind of compile that and make your plan for the back half of the event.
Yeah, indeed, some of these guys just, their mind is on cruise control, and before Justin Bolton had a little bit of a bobble up almost into the outside lane, but they'll keep it tucked for now. Still about 5 cars on that outside lane. Everybody else is single file and minding their P's and Q's. Jake Matheson being a lap down, but if we get one more yellow, he will be back on the lap.
Will we get that yellow? We will find out. Matheson there on that inside. You can still see the damage as he is following Timmy Pacioli. Pacioli led some laps, and yeah, there's that left front damage. But as I said, and as we alluded to even in the real world, talk to Tyler Reddick, the draft is the biggest Band-Aid of all time. It will hinder and it will omit a lot of cosmetic damage. And in the case of Tyler Reddick, even out front, he still was able to hang on and win the biggest race of the NASCAR calendar. But Brian Mercurio is padding the stat sheet that doesn't so much matter as the plane lands in the background. He's leading laps, just ticking them off. 25 Lone Ranger to the outside, Bailey Turner, waiting for Senesac to get to his help.
And Mercurio actually being the lead car and moving up to the second lane and jumping back to the bottom. Interesting strategy there. Not sure what that was about, but nonetheless, he can do whatever he wants. He's leading the race. Him, Jonathan Evans, Michael Curran, Jake Nichols, and Justin Bolton, your top 5. As now we have a little bit of a push from Bailey Turner. It's Bryce Senesac in the 09 giving him the shove through 1 and 2.
Now, I think you just alluded to it, the 82 kind of washing up the track. I think that's calculated air, which sounds really weird, but I think what he's doing is he has that little partnership going on with Evans, and Evans said, I'm hot, I need air, so they kind of made the plan together. I'm going to go high, make sure that no one gets a run. I'm going to give you some air, and now I'm going to shut the door, and you're going to give me some draft. And they'll do that until that outside makes a head of steam, which is impending now because Turner and Senesac up to Nichols, 4th car in line. Maybe pull a little side draft, try to get a little closer, but now starting to stall just as they were making progress.
Yeah, still keeping a good fight though, as the 82's back up, letting the 26 get some air, and that's going to allow the Bailey Turner machine to get a little bit more of a draft down the straightaway. Big bump from him and Bryce Senesac. Josh Cottle in the 13 also there, as well as the 52 Jake Matheson, who I guess is trying to earn his lap back the hard way and race in front of the leaders. But as soon as I say that, he'll drop a little bit more to the back with Anna Sogak jumping down in the line.
Now Dylan Alt has a little bit of a gap now, whether this is fully intentional. It's about maybe a 2-car buffer, 3-car length of disadvantage, about 0.4 of a second on the stopwatch. You got to keep it to about 0.7. That's usually the range where you want to stay within to keep that draft at it. But luckily, when they are double file like this, it does punch a hole in the air. It does give you the ability to stay in line and gain a bunch of time. But they're keeping that gap. Alt, remember, he was changing lanes like a maniac on the Boston freeways. Anybody from New England will get that one. But now kind of more just biding his time, just chilling. There's money on the line, not just for the winner, but I believe it was for the top 5. So multiple people want to cash out of this event. And the age-old saying, can't win it if you ain't in it.
Josh Cottle almost led that lap. He's now leading the outside lane after Turner and Senesac jump to the inside line. He's actually going to jump up to the lead, the 13 of Cottle. Him, Timmy Pacioli, and then Justina Sogak in the 69. 3 cars, with a 4th being Jake Matheson behind, doing the best they can, and they will. All 3 of them will clear, and actually Pacioli will go to the inside, looking to lead the race himself. Anna Sogak try to go down with Matheson. Matheson will stay up with Cottle, and then there's another car all the way in the back that's jumping up out of the line. I think that is Garrett Conrath in the 9.
Yep, he is all by his lonesome. Here's a significant spacing out in arrears right now. Pacioli up front. We started to see a little bit of what we saw in the heats, where it was complete all about me. You know, there's no I in team, but there is a me, and that's how they were racing in the heats. There was no partnership or co-opetition going on. That's the word I was looking for. It was about taking the run as it came, but now we were seeing a lot of teamwork until just now, but now it's since fizzled out. And usually, Hunter, once this kind of situation happens, this usually implies pit stops when the whole lane goes in snakes like this.
Yeah, that is true. They could pit anywhere from now to the end of the race, and they'll be going to go on fuel. We'll see if we do get any takers. I don't know if we will, but for the time being, it's still mostly single-file racing. Pacioli, Imasogak, Mercurio, Turner, and Senesac still your top 5. Some guys trying to get a little squirrely out of the line. Outside the top 10, I'm not sure what car that is. It might have been Seth Nolan, the 1. Could be wrong, but there was one soldier on the outside lane, but now everybody is just following the leader in Pacioli.
Well, what better time than to do this? And usually whenever we do this, it leads to a caution, but we're going to hope not. We are going to boost the sounds, and we are going to do some temporarily loud engines. Well, we did not jinx it, and we did stay clean and green for temporarily loud engine. Single file slightly changing itself up here. No, it's not. I thought Mercurio was going to go to the outside of Anna Sogak, but stayed in line. But who is going double file? Go about 6 cars deep. You have Eric Wineland with the push from the 13 car, Josh Caudell, and Garrett Conrad. 3 cars just pulling out a line, maybe running out of patience, maybe just trying to get some time built up. So they're trying to make that happen, but a lot more time to go, a lot more positions to go, and there's, they're just vastly outnumbered.
Yeah, that's usually how it goes here. Whenever one car goes to the outside lane and you don't get anyone else to go with you, you're a man against everyone else. So Cottle just trying to, I don't know if he's trying to feel things out, or he's trying to work his way towards the back, but he's doing a good job at it, if that is the case. And there are a couple of cars there towards the back that are jumping out to the outside. I think one of them is Scioli in the number 7. Haven't talked about him too much tonight. Previous champion, that's why he's in this race, as well as a previous pole sitter. So playing it safe and smooth for the time being. We're not even close to, well, we are close to halfway, but we're not at that halfway mark yet. Still, the top 5 has remained the same, with Pacioli leading the train of cars behind.
Now this is the Snake. Again, we have been in this configuration for about, I'd say, 8 or so laps here, as we kind of bide some time here in the area iRacing Shootout. So, and Hunter, as we just kind of look very quickly, well, not visually, but, just being able to reference the schedule, there is a very dynamic schedule here this season in area. Not every single week is going to be a triple header, and that's going to be something interesting for the guys running multiple divisions. We are going to have many races this season be at varied tracks, which is going to keep us on our toes, and it's also going to keep all these teams on their toes as they're setting up these various cars for their different divisions.
It's got to keep me on my toes too, trying to plug all the stats and info in to make sure everything's smooth sailing. But yeah, very dynamic schedule, shakes things up a bit, so drivers don't get a similar feel and, I guess, dominate in their other class of cars, whether that's a truck or a pro car or a cup car or whatever it may be. And it's going to bring to the excitement to those. Some might be better at a suitable track like a 1.5 miles, or they're better at a short track, and that might play out to them in whatever series they may be running in, which, by the way, registration for all 3 series still available on areiRacing.com. You can find out more info about that. Find the sign up sheet. It'll be at the top of the screen if you go on your webpage browser. Still some spots available for all 3 series, and should be fun season 8. Meanwhile, 8-6. Pacioli's still leading the way here at Daytona.
Yes, he is, and of course we'll be at Daytona on the 23rd of March. So if you're watching this live, that'll be in 2 weeks' time, the Area 500, which is only actually 250 laps. Oh, 150 miles, rather. It gave me a heart attack because I thought I would cover in a 500-mile race. But that'll be on the 23rd, so you'll stay tuned for the big show there. And then we'll have the Truck Series the day after, and the Nopes Series, but actually the Pro Series by Florida State Builders 2 days after. And if you're a fan of Daytona and Cup cars, 2 of our series will actually be coming here twice, both for the season opening event, and we're taking these Cup cars to back. It's almost like we're COVID era again, Hunter. They're actually going to the road course here at Daytona later in the season. So plenty of Daytona here in area.
Yeah, if you love Daytona, if you love road racing, that's going to be right up your alley. We'll have the schedules updated on the website, but the second news tab on the areiRacing.com, it's got the schedule listed out for all 3 series. So make sure you check that out, and it's got all the dates listed. And you're right, it does run from now in March to all the way through early August. So we'll have your summer planned accordingly throughout June, July, and August, the fun summer months, and then you'll have to get ready to go back to school again. And just like Pacioli is, he's schooling the field right now. I think he's led the most laps up to this point, right about at the halfway mark of this 55-lap Season 8 preseason shootout. Again, $100 to win. So it seems like everybody's content with letting Pacioli get $100 at the moment.
Well, as they say now, but Pit stops will change everything. And at a field of this strength, and Brad, I know you're in the booth as our Larry Mack, hopefully without the rumored medical conditions that he may be dealing with. We do have the set of pit stops, but in an SOF of this stature, you don't expect to have a massive variance, different packs. These drivers will probably pit and come back out in this same formation.
Yeah, first off, on the comment on Larry Mack, I've seen some of the different things, and actually I've seen that it's Bell's palsy, which is something I've had. It's scary. It's not life-threatening, though, thankfully, so hopefully he'll be okay, and that's the only thing we have in common. Beyond that, looking at how these cars are running, guys, I've been riding around in the back of the pack, jumping around with Sebastian Marin's, jumping around with some of the different drivers just outside of that second pack going through. Something Sebastian Marin was doing earlier was clutching on the entry of 3. When this pack was really condensed in and you had double file kind of before we went to the single file run around lap 20, 23, he was clutching a little bit going in. There was a lot of aggressive fuel saving going in the back of the field. I think now they've kind of started to lay off of that at the moment, but it is interesting to see the different strategies coming through, because with this skill level, we always talk about it, practice your green flag pit stops. I don't see stops being an issue for anyone, as we have a couple of takers, no fakers, actually.
Who was that? That dark, that was Seth Noel. Now, did he get loose, or was that the good old Allen Iverson crossover move? Check out here on instant replay.
Well, I mean, a crossover would work if it duped
he was
anybody,
coming.
but no
I mean,
one was duped by it.
Or he was practicing that Daytona Road NASCAR layout.
I guess if you run out of brakes and you want to attempt that corner, yeah, that was a good try at it. But, yeah, I'm not sure what that was. I haven't really quite seen that. I guess he was waiting to see if anybody would be duped and go down pit road. But ultimately, we did not get that. See if it happens again this lap through. Oh, got a good bit of takers towards the back, and they're coming down pit road.
Yep, here we come. All in Lakatos, or Likatos, depending what we want to call him. Marin coming to the attention of his crew, so we'll see what happens here and if we can get ourselves back on track in an organized fashion, because that's what's going to be important to make sure that they don't lose the draft. Everybody on the same playing field. Looks like just fuel only. Nobody taking even 2 tires. Marin still. Oh, did Marin get a speeding penalty? I believe he did.
Yeah, it looked like Marin. Go on, bro.
Marin did get a speeding penalty because he almost bent it coming into the pits. He had that car about 20 degrees turn, full opposite lock going on pit entry. Could not get the car slowed down, and he came into pits at about 65 miles an hour.
Yeah, there it is. That's the mistakes that you make now that you're not going to be willing to make in the area of 500 in 2 weeks' time. But we have more pit stops to be had. We have Scioli in. We have Jonathan Evans. We got Mercurio. We got the 13 car in. That's Caudell. Pacioli. And they seem to have done a great job. Well, I'm not going to say a great job, but a pretty decent job coming out together. I saw 3 cars well ahead of them.
Yeah, so far everybody else but the top 2 have come down pit road, and we actually had our first retiree. Jake Matheson has decided to call it a night. And the top 2 are now coming down pit road, so hopefully no speeding for both these guys, or any of these guys really, because if one has a speeding penalty, then the other is a sitting duck. And the 4 just...
Oh, he's one of those people. He's one of those people. I don't even going to say it. You just know what that means. He's one of those people, but he will hopefully, for the sake of his interest, be able to stay with Senesac, even if he is one of those people. But they'll get out, and now the fun of it is watching the merge point here. Here comes a head of steam to the outside. And I'm trying to figure out who that was, but that was not for the lead. It is still Bolton and Senesac being registered as the leaders. Here comes Bailey Turner leading a charge with Noel and company. And then we have a trio behind that, so perhaps we're a little more separated than I expected these guys to be. Yeah,
that's very interesting there, as Slaughter's going to go a lap down, and You have 5 cars, then you have about 4 cars behind them, and they will not pick up the Slaughter. They will go right around him, although Slaughter more up to speed now. Going to play a little bit of a road bump in this for guys like Michael Curran and Dylan Alt. So actually, there's some checking up going on. A lot of guys going now on the outside lane for some reason, with Jake Nichols leading the way now.
And then we go back about 5 seconds to Danny Ware, who is leading a charge with Beckner and Weishart. And let's check out the analytics. How far is he away from the next competitor? 1.5 seconds up to Justin Bolton, but Bolton is by his lonesome. And then Bolton has 3.5 seconds to the lead pack. So he's going to get swallowed up into this, what'll turn into a 6-car pack. But that's a lot of time. Even drafting single file as a perfect little angel hunter, that is a lot to ask to gain 5 seconds, even when they're racing as hard as they are up front.
Yeah, Weishart and Beckner have a long ways to go to get back up front into a competitive state to win, but still 21 laps to go, and it's still Bailey Turner up in front with Seth Knoll behind, Mercurio in third, and then the side-by-side battles kind of happen. Dylan Alt's door-to-door with the lap car and Brad Slaughter, but John Hall rounding out the top 5 for the moment. They're coming up on some more lap traffic, that being Garrett Conrath in the 9. There's another car there, another purple car. Sebastian Marin, that is. They're both in the risk of going a lap down, and here comes the leader, Turner, trying to go on the outside, but pass for the lead maybe with Knoll behind.
Pass for the lead, and again, those lappers are going to interfere with these leaders and their endeavors. It's going to create kind of extra drafting, but it's also going to create some roadblocks, so we'll see how that plays out. Of course, they both want a caution. They don't want to be in the caution. They don't want an incident on their screen when the caution comes out. They want to be able to get on the lead lap, so we'll see how this all comes into fruition. As you said, Matheson did pull it behind the wall, didn't get the caution he needed, couldn't get the repairs done. But how long, if at all, is Noel going to stay behind those two there, Hunter?
Well, Brad Slaughter is hoping for as long as they can until we get a yellow, because he'd be the free pass recipient if that were the case. So Slaughter, although 5th in line, in between 2nd and 3rd on the leaderboard, he needs that yellow. He's a lap down unless he can somehow get a run to the outside and find a way around. But Bailey Turner still leading the way, good bit. Well, I shouldn't say behind. He's good enough to where Slaughter could go up now and lead the way. But to be a lap car and do that, I don't think he will put the rest of the field in jeopardy.
Yeah, I do not imagine so. And something I do want to give perspective to is that second pack of cars. Now, that starts with David Weishart. Now, check out David Weishart on the ticker now, 46.84. Seth Noel, a 46.17. So even them, again, on their P's and Q's, 6 cars racing in as decent of a draft as they can, albeit there is a lot of separation. They are going absolutely nowhere, so we will need a caution. But what we're left with here is basically a heat race, Hunter. It's about 9 cars here, I guess 11 if you count the lappers, who are now kind of, they're actually a lap down now as they've been surpassed. But we basically have ourselves a heat race size grid here with 20 laps to go.
That is a great way to look at it. Saw some blinking there from one of the cars in the field, that'd be Bailey Turner. He's jumped now back on the leaderboard.
Is this
and he's in the wall.
Here we go. Is that going to throw it out? I don't think it is. It's a single car incident. And single car incidents without intervention by admin will not throw out a caution. So Marin and Conrath are just absolutely heartbroken because that was their chance, but we continue on.
He might have lagged down on the server because it's still showing him in the 9th spot, but we'll take a look at a replay of this again. He was blinking in and out, and he blinked back in halfway down the backstretch.
Yeah, I'm trying to find, there it is, because when he's blinking, it's actually hard to find him on our replay, but here he is, just in the middle of that tight sandwich. Yeah, you can see the 42 actually drafted into his vehicle, which is usually a code of connectivity issues. But either way, 1 car against the wall, not going to throw out a yellow. 66 and 19 still in that position. 66 and 9 rather, still in position to get on the lead lap. They are mathematically on the lead lap.
Indeed, Mercurio still in the way. Slaughter still hoping for a yellow flag to come out anytime that it would be necessary. It was almost there down the backstretch a couple laps ago, but he is still in between the 82 and the 03 of John Hall, finding his way in the top 5, and Hall starting to blink in and out. Not fun if you're the 24 Michael Kern trying to make up some ground. Meanwhile, on the outside of Slaughter, it's the one of Seth Knoll trying to work his way as close as he can to the 82 of Brian Mercurio.
Yeah, very difficult when you are in these situations as a driver. You have your screens up. You may have your spotter, your real-life spotter telling you what's going on, but it's very difficult to race with those 2 lappers up front because your perspective says, all right, I need to gain 3 spots for the lead, but the reality of it is Seth Noel is alongside the leader essentially as we speak here. And how much patience is Mercurio going to have? Does he want to be the leader? Does he want to stay put? Hard to tell, but Marin, we're just going to have lap cars leading both lanes here. I guess that's the one way to hold the pack up and maintain their position on the lead lap.
Yeah, that's one way to go about it. Not ideal for Mercurio. He's going to lose the lead from that, and Seth Knoll is going to go up to the front. Same with Dylan Alt. Same with Jake Nichols on that outside lane. And Jonathan Evans, the other car behind. And Mercurio, he's got 2 lap cars in front of him, 1 lap car behind him. He's in a bad spot right now.
Yeah, I think that was actually just a switching maneuver by Conrath and Marin there to get some fresh air into the 66, give him some clean air, get that radiator a chance to cool down. Conrath with that Herculean push here, that tandem style draft, and that will shoot that inside lane along, but Alt trying to get to the back of Noel, but a little bit of a gap there. Good Jake Nichols, who I believe won that ridiculous Heat 1 sideways and destroyed. He's just methodically hanging back there on that outside lane with Jonathan Evans to his rear.
Yeah, got about 8 cars in this pack, at least on the lead lap. There's about 11 altogether. That second pack with David Weishart, he is actually 10 seconds behind this pack, so they went from being 5 to 10. They're going to need to yell to get back in this thing, and I don't know. Actually, I do know. It's still Slaughter the first car lap down because Mercurio's jumped up to the outside. Now he's looking to put Conrath and Marin all lap down.
You're going to see that momentum. You can see the bumping from that camera there. It really shows you the momentum swing, the pushing, the level of aggression in those contacts there between the drivers. But Mercurio will take possession of the lead. That does put Marin and Conrath 1 lap down. That turns now into a lucky dog battle between the 2 of them. Only one would get it. One would be stuck because there would not be a reason to make a wave around for a pit stop there. But here comes Jake Nichols. Said he was quiet. Actually, look at the damage to the front bumper, that concave front nose there as Mercurio shuts the door.
Nichols going to try and take advantage of this because the lap cars behind him, they can't go below the yellow line. If it were to stay like this up until the last lap, they can't go below the yellow line, can't make a move on them because they're a lap down. So trying to take advantage of that, and Noel will take advantage of jumping down to the bottom and leading this race. Dylan Alt will be on the outside. Noel will block him instead. Mercurio and Nichols now with a run to the inside, although it's not going to be enough. Alt can come down if he wants to. He's clear to go with 11 laps left in the race.
Now, I was trying to get a perspective of that 73. So watch that concave nose. You can kind of see it there. That's a good perspective of it. I know Ford does kind of have a weird front end, but that's certainly not it. And actually, Marin and the 9, are they voluntarily going to the back now in the Good Samaritan? You guys race it out mentality. I think that's what's happening right now, as the leaders will be in their appropriate positions here. You can see that backpack. They've now fallen 11 seconds off the lead. But Seth Noel, Jonathan Evans, they were just 6th and 7th. They are now 1 and 2. Dylan Alt, he has led a lot of laps in all of these races tonight. He's trying to make that hard charge on the outside, and Noel with the block takes the lane.
Coming up on 10 laps to go from the Studio Temporary, the new look that Area's got. It's because of the Studio Temporary. Proud to work with them for Season 8. All new logos, including up in the top left, the new Area logo. You'll see on the windshield banners as well, new Area Cup, Truck, and Pro Series logos, all provided by the Studio Temporary. 10 laps to go with a hard charge from the outside. Seth Knoll and Dylan Alt going to be leading the way. Jonathan Evans on the inside lane with John Hall. trying to get side by side with the leader, but Noel will be clear enough to block low, and he'll try to block high off of 4.
Here goes Seth Knoll just doing that wasn't a block. That was just a slow little slide up the track. Takes the run. Now tries to go down to the bottom. That's Joey Logano. He is the absolute master of that in the real world. Just maintaining the run from both lanes. That's just how you call playing traffic cop here. But when you go in one lane too long, you give the other lane a chance to shine. And I think he's given too much attention to the top. That's going to give the 26 of Evans perhaps a chance to go to the bottom of the racetrack. But they've slightly disassembled. 03 of Hall was not close enough.
No, not close enough at all. And the one of Noel still leading the way through on that outside lane. Starting to get a bit more of a difference in strength on that outside lane compared to the bottom of the first 2 cars. They can go inside if they want to, try to leave the inside lane, but Noel and Alt, they're going to stay on the outside, coming with 8 laps to go in the race. Pacioli still charging on the bottom. It's actually on the outside. Yeah, he is on the bottom. I was getting confused there. Slaughter in the 8 is getting closer towards the front group. Evans going to give Pacioli a shove. Noel block low, leading the way down the back.
And that Noel takes the momentum away from the 86 at What's on Tap Camry, and now goes to the top. Was Noel? Was that a bump? Or was that a voluntary move to the top? Not quite sure. Couldn't tell from that perspective. But now the bumps are getting more aggressive. The draft is getting tighter. The money is just in these drivers' perspective. They can see it. 7 laps to go. Who's going to get the Benjamin? It's getting intense.
It's also getting intense if you're Brian Mercurio, because he's got 2 lap cars in front of him and 1 behind him again. Doesn't matter where he's at. He's still got lap cars sandwiched between him and the leaders, that being Seth Knoll on the outside, Dylan Knoll on the inside. Pacioli trying to give him a shove, but the lap car of Brad Slaughter and Sebastian Marin working to keep that 1 in front.
Yeah, I kind of forgot entirely about Brad Slaughter there, who is now the Lucky Dog car, now trying to get himself in the OG way to get your lap back. Do it the old-fashioned way, but doesn't have the help. Marin got himself back up there, so now I thought it was kind of the Good Samaritan. You guys go race it out. No, they just kind of got shuffled out. You imagine maybe 2 or 3 to go, they might kind of pull the parachute, but thus far, they still see an opportunity. They still see a chance for a caution, as long as they aren't the caution.
Yeah, and it's playing a thorn into the side for both Brian Mercurio and Dylan Alt, because Seth Knoll now just got 2 lap cars leaning behind him, so Slaughter will go to the inside. That's fine, but then the 42 of Alt will now be door-to-door with Knoll for the lead, but Slaughter playing a little thorn to the side of everybody else on the bottom, as is Sebastian Marin for everybody else on the outside lane.
Yeah, so Seth Noel just he has basically 2 cars to his facilitation now, separating him from the rest of the competitors. So if anything, Seth Noel's like, all right, I'll take this. This can stay for as long as it can. It's helping me out. Kind of a 2-car tandem there. Gets out to a 2-3 car length lead, but that's usually not a good thing, because once that momentum dies off, the run from behind will come hot and heavy, and that's going to be in the form of Mercurio, who's now going to the bottom of the track with the help from, I believe that is that gray car. That is Slaughter.
Yeah, so Slaughter now pushing the 82 of Mercurio. Now it's to the 82's advantage. And again, if it was just 1 lap car, then yeah, I'd be a little bit upset. But there's 3 in here, and they're all fighting to stay on the lead lap or to be the first car 1 lap down. So still a lot of things up for grabs here, but we're coming up on 4 to go. Dylan Alt's had enough. He's going to the outside of Slaughter, trying to get a big enough run. Conrad's going to drop to the back, though.
Yeah, Noel going up there with no choice. Has to go help out the 42. Ain't a way to go around it. Not enough cars to really get a 3rd lane going. So it's going to be very important to see how these lane shifts happen. Mercurio is going to have to hold on this head of steam. Is he going to go for the block? He is actually not going to have to, because that run just abruptly stalled as soon as they were about to get to the 82.
Yeah, the inside lane started to get a big draft and a big bump Slaughter doing everything he can to keep the 82 in front. Now he's going to go to the outside of Brian Mercurio. Again, going to be in the thorn to the side of Dylan Alt, but Mercurio is going to lead the way with 3 to go. Alt's just going to have to push the 8, try to push him out of line, I would assume, or at least to the front where he can go down low and try to get in front of the 82.
Now, Conrath has pulled himself to the rear of the field and seems to be staying there. We'll see if the rest of them choose to do that as we come into crunch time. 3 laps to go, closer to 2.5 here at Daytona in the 8th annual area preseason shootout. Dylan Alt is our race leader. Brad Slaughter tail end of the lead lap. Sebastian Marin technically 1 lap down. And here comes Jake Nichols. He wants to get another win. He won a heat race. He wants to add the feature to it, but he's going to need some help, and he's got a lot of work to do.
Yeah, he's going to have to get a lot of help here. Coming to the 2 to go now. Michael Curran's going to drop below. He is on the lead lap. He's in 3rd at the moment. Seth Knowles still in 2nd with Dylan Alt still in 1st. So we're going through 1 and 2 once more. The 42 leading as far as the leaderboard, but leading the pack, that's the 8 of Brad Slaughter. Again, he needs the yellow to come out now, otherwise he is screwed.
I think he may be pulling the traffic brake now, going to the top, letting them race, but Marin is the only one still in the thick of it here of the lap down cars. Now we have Michael Curran. I'm not sure if he's led a lap here today, but now it's crunch time. He's trying to 13 going to the top of the track very aggressively, but we're coming off of 4. We're taking the white. Dylan Alt in a familiar position, leading this thing through.
Final lap here from Daytona. The white flag's waving. Will we see a last lap pass once again, or will Dylan Alt lead it to the checkered flag? He's got Seth Knoll behind and Sebastian Marin, the lap car, 3rd in line on that outside lane. John Hall trying to find a way, and he's blinking in and out on the last lap. Not a good sign. Dylan Alt with Seth Knoll pushing down the back.
A little difficult for Noel because you don't know what Marin has in store as the variable. No, we're going to have a wreck. I think that was due to net code. It's going to separate the field. I think it's going to create maybe a massive run for Mercurio here. Top 2 losing the momentum. Here comes the run. Mercurio stalling out off of the 66 of Marin. Some contact's going to push Mercurio around. Alt and Noel, no run to be had. Dylan Alt gets himself the preseason shootout.
We did not get a last lap pass for the win. Dylan Alt home to the Season 8 debut of area iRacing at Daytona, and is $100 richer after a last lap where really Sebastian Marin kind of helped because he had a run. He just stayed to the outside. Mercurio, I think, was the one that got spun out, and there was nothing that Seth Knoll could do except just watch the bumper of the 42 all the way to the checkered flag. Dylan Alt starts Season 8 with a win at Daytona.
Yeah, very difficult, I would say, because you just don't know, unless you know Marin or you have team affiliations, you didn't really know what his motive was there. So that really did hurt, I guess, Noel in his efforts, but it helps Dylan Alt because he led the final lap. He also was very competitive in the heats, and he will be very happy to take that car in 2 weeks' time to the Area 500. Burning it down here. No $200,000 fine to burn down the grass here in the sim world. Gets himself a $100 prize. So as he burns it down here in the Daytona International grass, let's go ahead and give you the final rundown of results, Hunter, here from the 8th annual area preseason shootout.
Indeed, as Dylan Alt comes away with the win, him and Seth Knoll 1-2 on the leaderboard. Jonathan Evans with the podium paying position in 3rd, although it really pays. Actually, no, I think we do. I can go back and look. I think we do have payout positions for the top or so positions. Yeah, so second gets $40, $25 for 3rd. That being Jonathan Evans. Pat Scioli and Michael Curran finished in 4th and 5th. They will receive payouts of $15 and $10. Everybody else does not get paid anything. They got pride and joy out of their top 10. That being Jake Nichols, John Hall, Brian Mercurio, David Weishart, and Travis Beckner.
And then rounding out things, we got Danny Ware, Justin Bolton, James Scioli. These drivers here, they were in that second pack, never really had a shot in the back end of the race. Bryce Senesac, Eric Wineland, Casey Lakatos. Then we have the Alaskan Assassin, Justin Anasogak, Sebastian Marin. He was in the thick of it as the lap down car, as was Brad Slaughter, and Josh Caudell, and then just the rounding out the last couple of drivers, Conrath, Turner, and Matheson. Well, luckily you don't have to go to victory lane because now all the interviews are done on the front straightaway, Hunter. So I think through that grass, you've caught up with our race winner.
Yeah, I'm out here on the front stretch with Dylan Alt, kicking things off with a win to start Season 8. Albeit it's not worth any points, it is worth $100. That's good for the bank account. But I want to get your thoughts racing in between the 3 lap cars. And I mean, there were 4 in there as well with Cottle. I didn't notice him in the back, but trying to go for the win and trying to race around lap traffic, how difficult was that to put yourself in a winning position?
Sometimes if I'm put in a bad spot, it gets kind of frustrating with the lap car. If I have teammates that are lap cars, like Seb, for example, I love it. And once I got kind of in front of Seth, and I knew I had Seb behind me, I just assumed Seth was going to maybe try to send it below me on the last lap or send it right above me. So I knew I had that comfort of Seb behind because I felt like he was not going to go with Seth. So even if Seth tried to make a move on me, he would kind of get, his whole run would just fall. So yeah, I felt much more comfortable on the final lap. Once I was on the bottom, I think with like 5 to go or so, I thought my race was kind of over once I was stuck with Brad in front of me on the bottom because we couldn't get the bottom to really roll until the outside. Once I heard Seb was hot, then I was like, screw it, let me just push, like my life depended on it. And I got to the outside and everything after that kind of worked well. And yeah.
Congrats on the victory, and we want to get your quick thoughts on Season 8 Insight. So you're with a new team now on the Cup side of things with Boyd Motorsports. From this win, what can you do for your teammates over there? Try to give them a little momentum boost going into the season.
With this win, it's definitely a big momentum boost. I've known Rocky Boyd for many years now, raced with him many times, but never really actually talk to him much, like in a voice channel. So I think that's going to be a new thing to get used to. Yeah, going into this Season 8, it's just going to be a lot of practice for me for the Coke Series and just get a competitive mindset and yeah, hopefully get all the other teammates, teach them a few things, and we will all learn throughout each race and see how it goes.
All right, congrats on the win, and we'll see you next Monday night here at Daytona for Area 500 qualifying.
Appreciate it.
All right, and now that'll leave me with second place here, and that will be Mr. Seth Noel. So, Seth, a second place on the day. A very difficult, probably run to the finish there with those lap cars in. I'm sure you really didn't know what their intent was and who they were going to help. So, with that being said, what was the strategy to have a fighting shot there on the last lap?
I mean, we were pretty committed to the guys on the bottom as lappers. I think it was Garrett and Seabass. And then we saw the top just start rolling because we just weren't formed up the way that we needed to be to run like optimal lap times. So I went to the top, and then once I went to the top, I just held second lane. Once me and Dylan kind of got lined up, it seemed like in his heat, he was kind of running the same philosophy as me of just hold second lane and then just control the race. So we were just trying to do that, and ended up P2. Nothing to complain about. Win the heat. Good little night for Solar Flare, and get ready for the 500 next week. Yeah,
and you get maybe you didn't get the big prize, but you still got yourself a pretty decent payday out of today's race, so nothing to be upset about there. Now, obviously, we covered you on PTR TV and trucks, well, at least in the Pro Series, but now we get to cover you in all 3 series. So what's your main Season 8 goal? What's your main focus going to be as we start area off for 2026?
I mean, the goal is pretty much the same thing as tonight. Just run the best you can, finish where you do. Like, don't go out there and look like an idiot. I did that in the heat. Got that out of the way. Now we can go on and have some fun this season and just execute with the JWR race cars. That's all we can do. I mean, all you can do is control what you control and try and go out and win.
Absolutely, man. Well, any final words before we let you go?
Appreciate JWR's hopping on. Sim Speed Shop on the quarter. Going to represent those boys this season and just see how the season goes.
Absolutely, man. We'll catch you soon.
All right, appreciate you guys.
And then last but not least, rounding out the podium, Jonathan Evans. He will be with Hunter.
All right. Fun podium paying position there. You get some money in your bank account and get a little bit of experience for what could be coming. Not only just next Monday, but 2 Mondays time in the area 500. But take us through your thoughts on tonight's preseason shootout, racing in between lap cars. Was that? I wonder how that was, because Dylan also said they can be challenging at times, but I wanted to know if it was a little more challenging for you having to be with Brad Slaughter and Sebastian Marin.
Yeah, to be honest, I didn't even realize Brad and Seb were even lap cars until, we crossed the line. I was just so focused on trying to get a run to try to have a shot at the thing. But Dylan and Seth, after the backstretch, what happened with John, they were just so far out there and a little too late. But, I really enjoy these events. Area does a good job putting it on, and it's great to be back. But, yeah, so just a fun night and a good finish, so I'll take it heading into the season.
Yeah, Season 8, you're with Powerhouse Racing on the Pro Series side of things. So take us through what, I know it's a Cup car, it's a little different than the Pro Series car, but your outlook for Season 8 as a whole. What are you expecting, and what are you most excited about?
Well, I just want to run the best that I can. It's a very competitive league. Last season I made the playoffs in all 3 series. This season I'm only running 1 series, so my goal is just to make the chase and just take it 1 race at a time. Hopefully I can, get a few good results and maybe get a win here or there. So that's the aim.
All right, well, congrats on the 3rd place finish, and we'll be seeing you from Daytona in a couple weeks' time and on Thursdays here on PTR TV. Thanks for your time.
Thanks.
Well, that'll wrap up the show here today, Hunter and Brad, who's still here in the background. So, final thoughts as we start off our season in very interesting style.
Very interesting, to say the least. We didn't get a whole lot of beating and banging and crashing at the checkered flag, but we had some excitement in the first 2 heats, and then we had some more fireworks that took off in the main event. But ultimately, it was Dylan Nault and Seth Knoll getting the job done. The lap traffic bit was very interesting. Especially from some drivers who didn't know that they were racing with lap cars, because that's how dialed in they were. They were trying to win that $100 prize, but ultimately it was Dylan Nault and Brad. I want to get your thoughts on that, because previously in seasons past, the lap cars racing with the leaders, that usually sparks with a crash. The one that I can recall is from the Pro Series a few seasons ago. A car 3rd in line was trying to get out of the way of the leaders going into turn 3. They didn't slow down, and then they created a massive wreck, taking out a good portion of the field.
Yeah, I thought it was an interesting situation. I think really it was the fingers crossed on the caution. I think what really showed me sort of, again, what you see a lot with Area was the fact that when we got down to 3 to go, 2 to go, those lap cars, they decided to back out of it and get out of the way. I thought that was a very strong, smart decision from them to really show the fact that they didn't want to affect the outcome of the race. And I think it, again, just speaks to the quality of racing that's here at Area. Man, I'm just glad we're back.
So glad to be back indeed for the exclusive coverage of Area in 2026, but also subscribe to the other content we have here. We're going to be basically live 5 to 6 days a week here with a couple double duty nights. So PTR TV is busy as ever. Like, share, comment, subscribe. Help us get to our goal of 2,000 subscribers. But that's going to be Corey, Brad, and Hunter signing out of the booth. Have a great night, and we'll catch you next time.